ZMB All Zombie Radio.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the premiere episode of a brand new show on this channel entitled The Evidence Board, a high potential case file companion. Um, Takira really wanted to be here for this. We came up with this harebrained scheme last week that we were going to do this from now on because I don't know, it's exciting, it's fun, it's different. High potential. We talked about high potential, and I stated last week when we were talking about it that it reminds me a lot of the era of like early 2000s to like 2010s USA Network crime procedurals. There were quite a few at the time. They were considered quirky. You may remember the tagline "Characters Welcome," because it was when they were really pushing this idea of these really unique characters that had maybe some sort of unusual special edge to them. And so at the time, we saw shows like Psych, which is still a favorite of mine, Monk. We saw shows like Burn Notice, which had like Bruce Campbell in it. Like just like uh, really great crime procedurals. And it was really the time for it. I loved a lot of those shows. They still stand the test of time. There are still people um, talking about shows like Burn Notice and Psych, and and it's about time that we got something that reminded me of that. And this kind of something about high potential really brings up that era for me. I don't know what it is about it. I couldn't pinpoint it 100% to be able to just kind of say like it's this, and this, but it does really remind me of those shows, and it makes me nostalgic for a time in which I really loved watching those crime shows. They were fun and they were funny, and there was still some heft to them when there needed to be. This will eventually take the time slot of the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time show on my channel. And you may remember, you may have found me because of Found. And so it's a little bit sad that we're not doing Found. And it does feel a little bit sad to put another crime procedural in its place, um, but High Potential is good, and I'd like to talk about it. Um, and I think that it's fun, and it has some aspects of it that I think when I reflect on from not on from on Found, when I reflect on Found, when I go back and think about it, um, some of the aspects from this show, I'm like, this makes sense, or this is where they were really missing that key piece that makes this so likable. And so I'm sad to say that, but it's true, and I was very vocal about my opinions when it came to Found when it was on, um, and and I just felt like it could be so much better. And High Potential is by no means the perfect show. It is a little bit cheesy. It's a little bit episodic and very like X, Y, and Z equals this. And it's always gonna be like that. But the twists are enough to keep me engaged. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about High Potential as a show, because we did not cover season one of this, and I'm not gonna go back and cover it now. Did I watch it? Yes, I enjoyed it a great deal. I think you should watch it. If you haven't watched the show already, I think you should really give it a shot. I think it's really interesting, and it's something, it kind of brings something new. It is based on another show. Okay, so it's based on a French and Belgian show that is from 2021 entitled HPI. HPI is an acronym for Haute Potential. I'm gonna butcher it. I can't do it. Haute Potential Intellectual, but say it with a French accent. I'm not going to. I tried. I did try for a second. I was gonna do it. I couldn't do it. Which means high intellectual potential, because haute, if you know, haute couture is high fashion. High. that show, HPI, was originally created by Stéphane Curie, Alice Chegare Bernot, and Nicholas Jean. And it was broadcast in Belgium on a channel called Le Un, which I assume is like the one, since April 20th, 2021. It also aired in Switzerland and in France and in Canada. Um, it does state that it streams in the United States on Hulu. However, I did not look up the original series to see. So that would be something interesting to look up. The premise is pretty much exactly the same. It stars Audrey Fleurot as Morgan, but her name is Morgan Alvaro, and she's an intellectually highly gifted housekeeper who becomes a consultant for the DIPJ, which is the Central Directorate of the Judicial Police, which is the National Police of France. So they help in like serious crimes. And so she helps to solve cases. Same premise for our show. Um, we follow, obviously, they changed some details, right? Okay, so like the show, obviously, it stars Caitlin Olsen. You may know her from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because that is what I would argue she's probably best known for. Maybe not after this show, but um, it's what she was best known for. And so she plays Morgan Guillory, an intellectually gifted cleaning woman who becomes a police consultant. Also starring our Daniel Sanjata, wow, as Morgan's partner, Adam Karadek, and Judy Reyes, who you may know from Scrubs. She played Carla, a beloved character on Scrubs, as Selena Soto. I forgot to mention Daniel has been in many other things. And most notably, I'm trying to think of like what I knew him from. Because again, he's been in a ton of stuff. Um, I knew him from some other things. Like he was in, like, because I recognized him. He's been in like, he was like in Rescue Me. He played Franco. I'm sure most people are going to be like, oh, I cannot believe that you're not mentioning that he was in Grey's, because he was in Grey's Anatomy. Hi, India. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. He was in Grey's Anatomy. He played Nurse Eli. He was in Smash, which I did watch all of Smash. I like weirdly really loved that show. He played Peter Gilman in that. So he's been in a ton of stuff. You can go look at his acting credits to see, but he's been in a ton of stuff. The series premiered September 17th, 2024. And in January 2025, this series was renewed for a second season, which just premiered September 16th, 2025. So the concept is Morgan, she's a single mother. She has 3 kids. She works as a cleaning lady in the LA Police Department. She does state that she has an IQ of 160, which classifies her as a high potential intellectual. When she unexpectedly solves a complex case using her unorthodox thinking and keen observational skills, she's recruited as a consultant for the Major Crimes Division. There, she is partnered with Adam Karadek, and he's like very by the book, like you have to follow the rules person, which honestly is what Morgan needs to level her out, because she is much more fast acting. There's like a lot of knee jerk reactions to things. There is a subplot to the show, and honestly, I think this subplot is probably it's the most compelling aspect of this. Oh, good. I'm so happy to hear that. India said that she just finished the first season this past weekend and just caught up with season 2, and it is filling up my found TV hole. I love that. Good, 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 good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. Like I said, I find it really enjoyable, so I'm glad that you liked it enough to stick with it. Yeah, so the subplot is the most compelling part of the whole show. So the reason that Morgan agrees to take the job, because she receives the job offer from Soto. And Soto's like, look, I think you're really a good fit for this. You'd be great at this and we need your help. And Morgan says, I can't. I can't do this. This job is hard. And it's not for me. And so she goes home after rejecting the job. Now, when she goes home, her oldest daughter, Ava, um, is not really asking questions about her father, but she like states that she doesn't love that her father left them. And Morgan is just trying to really convince her, like, look, your dad did not leave us. Something happened. And so she goes back to Soto and she says, I'll take this job on one condition. You have to help me find my ex-husband slash my eldest child's father. And that part of the story is so intriguing and so twisty and turny, and it's been really great. And I'm so glad that we got the movement that we did at the end of last season into this season. But it makes for very compelling television. So I'm very invested in it. I really, really like it. So the characters are Caitlin Olsen, obviously, as Morgan Guillory, Daniel Sunjata as Adam Karadec, Javicia Leslie, who is just one, a gorgeous woman. She's beautiful. She plays Daphne Forrester. So she's one of the police officers in the major crimes division. She's one of the investigators. And then Denise Actonese. He is an Australian actor, which I couldn't tell. So like, good on you, dude. But he plays Lev Ozdil. So, but they just call him Oz. Amira J is Ava Guillory, so that is Morgan's eldest daughter. Matthew Lamb plays Elliot Radovic, which is that's Morgan's middle child. She had a son with a second ex-husband named Ludo. And then obviously Judy Reyes as Lena Soto. And then in season 2, we are getting a character named Nick Wagner, who is played by Steve Howie. There are some other people that like kind of showed up and kind of disappeared. So I'm excited to see if they're going to come back for the second season. Taran Killam, who most people know from like being on like Mad TV and Saturday Night Live. He plays Ludo Radovic, and he is the ex-husband, but he's also the stepdad to the kids, and he's like very actively involved. And actually, he is who the LAPD pays to watch Morgan's kids, because that's one of the contingencies of her employment. Garrett Dillahunt, which is I was so happy to see Garrett Dillahunt. Garrett Dillahunt is a very one, he's a great actor, and I've loved him for many, many years. I loved him on the show Raising Hope. If anybody's ever seen that, it's a Greg Garcia show. It was really very funny. Greg, yeah, Garrett Dillahunt was also on another Greg Garcia show called the Guest Book, which is great. The first season of the Guest Book, which is also a really, really good show. He also did Greg Garcia did like My Name is Earl, like is all that like kind of that like universe. Garrett was also in Raising Hope, the Guest Book. And then he was in another Greg Garcia show called oh shoot, I don't remember the name of it. Sprung. It only lasted a season. It's a really interesting show. I want to say it was on Hulu. It is about COVID and like the fact that there were a lot of people who were let out of prison during that time for like lower level sentences because they couldn't, like they didn't want to have to house all these people with all the COVID protocols. So it's kind of interesting. It's also a comedy. And then he was most notably known for his role as John Dory in Fear the Walking Dead, which is The Walking Dead's first spinoff that took place. It started in LA. And people really loved his character, and he is a very, very sweet man who's very kind to people involved in that fandom. And so I just really love him. And so it's so good to see him in something else. It's like really cool. India says, I love the ex-husband, love the actor. Me too. And I know I saw the guy who was the dad on Raising Hope. I was like, I didn't know he was in there too. I know I had no idea he was going to be on the show. So that was like a really just like exciting thing that happened. Like when he popped up. yeah, so Garrett Dillahunt played Lieutenant Mellon, and so I'm interested to see if he'll come back because we haven't seen him yet in the season. JD Pardo as Tom, who was kind of like a weird end of first season, like kind of mid-season romantic interest for Morgan. I really liked him, and so I was really sad when he completed nursing school and he leaves to take a job in San Diego, I think, or yeah, San Diego, I believe. And so he leaves to take that job. So that was really sad to me. I didn't love that because I actually really like Tom, and so I kind of wanted that to be a thing. So again, interested to see if he makes a comeback. David Guintoli, um, who I know as Nick Burkhart in Grimm. That's how I know him, is from Grimm. But he plays the game maker, or also known as Matthew Clark, who we'll get into with these first two episodes. And then also we have Mekhi Pfeiffer. Now, you may have recognized him. He is the guy that we thought was Roman Sincera. You think that he's Roman. Now, he's not, we come to find out. But he has been in a lot of things. He was in 8 Mile. He was in ER. He was in let me see. He was in, oh, that's right. He was in, oh my gosh, he was in Torchwood Miracle Day, which is crazy. He was in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. He was on Soul Food. He was in High School High. Um, he was in, I mean, yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff. And I saw him and I was like, how do I know that guy? It took me like a minute. Oh, the reason I know him is because he plays the worst character in the Dawn of the Dead remake. He plays the worst character. In the 2004 Dawn of the Dead remake, he plays Andre, who's the guy who's got the girl, he's got like the girlfriend who's pregnant, and she turns, and so he's like trying to save the baby, but the baby's a zombie. It's so bananas. Anyway, he's been in a ton of stuff. Really like him. Really liked him for this role. I was really excited to see him. And so this is really exciting that there's like these really great people in the show, and yeah, I have high hopes for this as it continues. Okay, so I do want to mention that the show was created by Drew Goddard. And Drew Goddard may sound familiar to you because if you were a Buffy fan, you know that name. Now, you may know Drew Goddard for a variety of other things because this man has done it all. But Drew Goddard was best known in the, I mean, in the like the 90s. Oh my gosh, my computer screen is just absolutely flipping out. Hold on. Hold on. Wow. Okay. Oh god. Everything's glitching. Everything's glitching. Okay. Whoa. Okay. All right. So he was best known for being involved in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He wrote episodes for the show. He also wrote episodes for Angel. He also wrote episodes for Alias, which was very big at that time, and Lost, also a huge show in the early 2000s. Then he moved into screenwriting and he wrote the movie Cloverfield, World War Z, and The Martian. Okay, this guy's like, he's a home run hitter, like honestly. He created the Netflix series Daredevil back in 2015. What? He directed some episodes of The Good Place. He was an executive producer for the other Cloverfield franchise movie. It has now been announced this last year that he would write and direct a new film in the Matrix franchise, which is nuts. But anyway, he created the show and I love it, honestly. I do love it. I'm trying to think if there was any other show that he wrote for or was um or created that I was like really paid attention. I know. Is it glitching still? It seems like maybe it cleared up now. Let me check. Let me check the stream. Sorry though. It's freaking out. Freaking out. Anyway, you should know him from Buffy. That's what basically the point I was trying to get across here. Uh-oh. Can't get the stream to pull up, so that's concerning. There we go. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, India. Thank you. I'll get to your comments too in a second. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that he wrote for that I am unaware of, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Now, Drew Goddard only wrote, as far as I know, he only wrote the first episode. He only wrote the pilot, but still very exciting that he was involved because he's just like a great writer. Okay, so we're gonna kind of skip over season one. Season one was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. I'll go ahead and share what my favorite episode was because I really 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 liked it. But my favorite episode was Stop It. Oh, I just discovered something. I'm so happy. Okay, my favorite episode was episode 7 of the first season. It was called One of Us, and it's the episode in which it's Morgan's day off, and she takes Ava to the police department because Ava wants to see where she works. So she takes her there, and when that happens, there's a bomb threat, and they're held hostage by these like military people. And the case is really good, and I really really enjoyed it. I just was looking to see, okay, who wrote it, who directed it, yada yada yada, right? The teleplay was written by Mark Halsey. The story was written by Mark Halsey and Jordana Lewis Jaffe and Dennis Saldua. And it was directed by the one and only James Roday Rodriguez from Psych. Sean from Psych directed this. So no wonder this has like such a feel that I love. I didn't know he directed the show. So I'm over the moon right now. I'm over the moon. Okay. I'm gonna go to comments for a second because India's been sharing a lot of things. So let me go to comments and then we'll go back. Then we'll go back to talk about these first 2 episodes of the second season. Okay, so all right, let me find out where you were, India. Okay, India says, "Love me some Judy Reyes. Loved her since Devious Maids and Claws. See, I love her from Scrubs, but I did know that she was in Claws, and I kind of forgot she was in Devious Maids. Um, the Game Maker arc was crazy for this last part of season 1 and the beginning of season 2. He reminds me a little bit of Sir/Hugh. I kind of get that vibe, honestly. It's like the pretentious, I'm smarter than everyone vibe. India said he was also in Othello, right? The guy who he thought was Roman. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I believe he was. And for Daphne, I was like, she was the one who played Batwoman on the CW, right? Oh, I don't know. Hold on. I can find out. Hold on. I can find out. I didn't know. I didn't recognize her, but I didn't watch that, so that's probably why. Yes. Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. Yeah. Okay, cool. No, I didn't know that. I didn't recognize her because I didn't watch that, and I'd stopped watching. I used to watch Flash pretty religiously, and some of the spinoffs, but it just became too much. Like, and honestly, I'm just like kind of over the whole superhero stuff. And now at this point in my life, but okay. All right. This show had me all in my feels, crying quite a few times in season 1 and laughing and screaming. OMG, episode 7. That episode had me on the edge and crying at the same time. It was so good. It was such a good episode. I'm so glad to know that James Roday directed that. That makes me so happy. Okay. Anyway, let's go back. All right. Oh my God. Why is everything glitching today? Okay. So you give it a second so it doesn't glitch the entire time I'm talking. All right. So season 2. Oh, I knew it. That's why I love these episodes. James Roday directed both of these episodes, season 1 and season 2, or episode 1 and episode 2. Episode 1 of season 2 is entitled Pawns. Episode 2 is entitled Checkmate. Obviously, the two fit together. Um, they were both written with Mark Halsey, with the first episode being written with also Tard Harthan. Um, episode 1 aired September 16th, and then episode 2 aired just a few days ago, September 23rd. The ratings were great for both. 4.34 for episode 1 and 3.84 for episode 2, which is honestly incredible. And this is airing on ABC. So this is like network television. This would be comparable to like Found. However, I believe this airs earlier because I always thought that that was probably what one of the issues was for Found, was that the time slot was just not good. It was too late. Um anyway, okay. So, let's get into the episodes. I'm so Oh, India, I'm so glad you're here. Okay. All right. So I wanted to read, as we've been doing a lot of like reading of articles about the episode. So we're going to go ahead and do that for this. Okay. So, Jenny Richardson, it looks like from Collider, has been tasked with the job of writing these articles, these like review articles for High Potential. And so thank you, Jenny, for your work on this. And we're going to go ahead and read High Potential Season 2 premiere review. The Game Maker is back and making life worse for everyone. This was published September 17th, 2025. Okay, and this does contain spoilers. Obviously, we're going to get into the nitty gritty with this. After a long, Potential is officially back for season 2 with an intense premiere that continues the events of the season 1 finale. In the final episode of High Potential's first season, Morgan Guillory and the rest of the Major Crimes Unit investigated a killer who is officially dubbed the Game Maker. In season 2, a game maker is not just a killer who's trying not to get caught, but instead he's a calculated person who's trying to get Morgan's attention with his outlandish and intentional crimes. As a result, the season 2 premiere is intense and suspenseful as Morgan tries to prove that the game maker is back at it. The season 2 premiere of High Potential picks up about a week after the end of the season 1 finale. Ludo has been staying with Morgan and her kids at the house, and Morgan has been taking some time away from work after the game maker tracked her down at her local grocery store. Morgan is still on edge, worrying about when the game maker will come after her again, but the rest of the Major Crimes Unit believes that she's seeing his involvement everywhere, even when he may have nothing to do with the case. Like season 1 of High Potential, season 2 opens with a woman dancing alone, which I loved. That was like, it was so good. It was such a good tie into that first season. I I loved it. I loved it so much. Um, it's a woman named Maya Pierce. She's played by Kate Miner, who is going out for a night at a club with her friend. Morgan is struggling after a week of hiding from the game maker and trying to keep the truth from her kids. Selena visits Morgan for a regular check in, but Morgan is still away from work and it's taking a major toll on her. The next day, she finds a piece of mail misdelivered to her address that takes her to a house playing The Lion Sleeps Tonight with the door open. As it turns out, the house belongs to Maya Price, who is now missing. Everyone else is unsure at first that the mail is from the game maker, but Morgan confidently pursues the case with the belief that it is him. She goes back to work and starts looking into Maya's whereabouts alongside her team. In the Major Crimes Unit's investigation, they learn that Maya recently bought a gun and that she received some really expensive luxury gifts. Although Morgan is convinced it's the game maker, the main suspect is Maya's ex, Derek. Maya's friend also turns the Major Crimes Unit to Maya's boss, Jason Howard, who's played by Nick Weschler, responsible for the gifts and the tickets to the club. As an It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan, I enjoyed watching Olsen and Weschler act together again, and his character is the perfect red herring for the game maker. Morgan looks into everything, and she concludes that the game maker has been intentionally choosing targets with similarities to Jason Howard so that he can frame Jason for everything that he's done, particularly Maya's abduction. Everyone else is not as ran, which frustrates her. It's a great moment in which, once again, Morgan's condition leaves her feeling isolated from the people around her. Oh, okay. I was glitched again. Sorry about that. Morgan's condition leaves her feeling isolated from the people around her. She can see things before others put them together, and she can't always explain her train of thought. Selena worries that this is too much for Morgan and even doubts her choice to make Morgan a consultant. But Karadec confidently assures Selena that he trusts Morgan, which is a love station in the pilot. While investigating, oh, okay. Oh my gosh, I don't know why everything is lagging really bad. I'm so sorry, you guys. Hold on. Okay. All right. It seems to be okay now. Let me get rid of that. Maybe that's part of the problem. Okay. Or not. Or pull it up. Okay, cool. Jesus. All right. While investigating Maya's abduction, Morgan and Karadec go to Jason Howard's party looking for him. They figure out that Jason wasn't the one to buy Maya the gifts on his card and that he doesn't have a clear alibi, but they don't get much else from him. Just when it seems like Morgan might have been wrong about this one, she sees the game maker at Jason's party. The game maker is clever, though, showing himself just enough for only Morgan to see him. And when they catch him, Jason Howard is the one stuck in his place. And Jason even gets arrested for Maya's abduction. Derek is waiting back at the station for Jason, and he yells at him as Jason is brought into custody. Morgan later puts the pieces together that the game maker must have called Derek ahead of time about Jason's arrest, and she realizes that the game maker has been setting everything up to try to guide Derek into killing Jason for him. Part one of High Potential Season 2 premiere is a strong episode that sets an exciting tone for the season. The game maker's return brings Morgan back to work with a purpose, and Selena even gets a lead on a hotel room. Again, I'm lagging. Okay. Gets a lead on a hotel room that was checked into with Roman Sinclair's with his last name. No, his name. As of the end of the episode, Derek is planning to kill Jason. Daphne and Oz are waiting outside a hotel room registered to Roman, and the game maker has checked himself into the station. With these cliffhangers, High Potential has planted some exciting seeds for next week's episode, where the rest of the game maker's plan will come to light. And you know what? I take it back. I said that Found's time slot may have been the problem. And no, that can't be it because this show also airs at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it has nothing to do with the lateness. Why is it freezing? Okay. It's frozen on my screen. So I'm just going to wait until it stops. Like I can see myself moving, but like the window itself is frozen. So I'm just gonna give it a minute. All right. In the meantime, Indy, I'll look at your comments because I can see them on my phone. Um, okay. I hated that season 2 hasn't been promoted as much. Okay, there we go. I think we're good now. I need Mark Paul Gosselaar or Shanola on High Potential or Will Trent. The kids are so cute. Matthew pissed me off in both of these premiere episodes for real. I love Morgan and Karadec's dynamic now. And I think for season 2, the writing was the problem, and the storylines were dragging a little bit for Found. I mean, yeah, I agree. There was such exciting potential there, and it just didn't quite work out. But it's exciting to see that this season 2 premiere was so strong, and that the ratings were so good. All right, so I've also got. Oh my god, we're just gonna glitch endlessly this evening. This is just a glitchy situation. Okay. Give it time. All right. Okay. So Jenny Richardson again wrote another article because she's going to write one for every single episode of the season because this is her job now. High Potential Season 2, Episode 2 review. Morgan best the game maker, but he shouldn't be gone forever, which is how I feel about it too. The first, and this was published 3 days ago, just so you know. All right. The first half of High Potential's two-part season 2 premiere ended with multiple wild cliffhangers. Most importantly, the LAPD Major Crimes Unit finally has a lead on Roman Sinclair's whereabouts. And just as the game maker's plan is finally coming into fruition, he has checked himself into the station for questioning. Season 2, Episode 2, Checkmate, picks up immediately after the conclusion of the previous episode, with Karadec trying to stop Derek Price from his plan to kill Jason Howard, and Morgan and Selena prepare to question the game maker. After Morgan and Selena tell Karadec that the game maker is at the station, though, he heads over to ask him some questions. The episode is a strong follow up to last week, as the Major Crimes Unit is now sure that Morgan was right about the game maker, but they struggle to take him down and prove his guilt. The episode also continues with the mystery of the search for Roman Sinclair, after Daphne and Oz learn that the man who checked into the motel as Roman has gone on the run again. Karadec asked the game maker some questions at the station, but the LAPD isn't able to get any real information out of him, aside from a couple of very carefully crafted clues. Morgan figures out that the game maker is telling them to perform a Pillsbury variation, in which they must release Jason Howard from custody in order to get more information about Maya Price and her whereabouts. The problem is, with Jason free to go, he is right where the game maker wants him, as an easy target for Derek, who still believes that Jason is the one who abducted Maya. And when Morgan is the only one left on the other side of the interrogation room, the game maker leaves one more clue just for her, where he essentially tells her that he will free Maya if Morgan surrenders. The game maker further fuels his plan to get Derek to kill Jason by releasing a hostage video of Maya that is loaded with clues. He also leaves a hint to remind Morgan that he's watching her, and he then sends the Major Crimes Unit on a wild goose chase. He takes them first to his apartment and then to Jason's Howard's house, where he blows up one of their cars. It's the perfect trick to get Jason to drop his guard, and this works so well. And Derek almost kills him before Karadec steps in. Morgan goes to the game maker's apartment and quits the game, telling the game maker that he has outsmarted her. And the game maker then gives Morgan the hint she needs to find Maya, who is trapped in the basement but is still alive. Morgan and Karadec work together to prove to Derek that Maya is alive, so he backs down, resolving this storyline. The only problem is they still don't have enough evidence against the game maker. Most of part 2 of High Potential season 2 premiere focuses on the game maker, but it also moves the Roman storyline further along. It turns out that the man whom Daphne and Oz believe is Roman isn't actually Roman. This man, Arthur, later visits Morgan and reveals he has been working with Roman and helping him hide. Roman is in danger from someone in law enforcement, though, so he and Arthur are concerned that Morgan is working with the police. Arthur tells Morgan to call him when she can explain why she's working with people who could be involved in the threat against Roman, and then he leaves, extending the Roman mystery. In a fun subplot, Elliot and Ludo work together on a secret talent show routine that Elliot is planning to perform at school. Morgan is afraid that he is going to get made fun of, but she supports him, and the performance is ultimately a success for the most part. Morgan finally figures out that the game maker stole Maya's blood that she donated to make it look like Jason killed her, and she uses this to take him down. In an epic scene, Morgan confronts the game maker. She reveals the game maker's underlying motivation, which is that when he was a kid, his mother was accused of a theft that she didn't commit. Because of this, the game maker has been determined to take down wealthy people like the one who accused his mom of stealing, which led to her dying in jail. I would have liked to see the game maker have a deeper reason for targeting Jason specifically, like him being the one who accused her of stealing as a child. Instead, Jason is just a symbol to the game maker. Morgan's takedown is epic, though, because she uses footage of the game maker stealing Maya's blood to arrest him, and then she makes sure that he actually goes to jail. The episode is a strong follow up to the first part of the season premiere, and this is a strong end to the game maker's arc, at least for now. Still, though, the episode is a little too rushed in wrapping up everything from the storyline. Morgan was so upset last week when her coworkers were hesitant to support her theory that this was all the game maker, but she never talks to them about it this week. And not even Karadec tries to apologize for it. Morgan also approaches the game maker's backstory with a lack of nuance that is unusual for her character, but that could be attributed to the threat that he posed to her kids and Oz. And that being said, this is ultimately still a powerful end to the game maker's time on the show, although hopefully High Potential's best villain will make a return down the line. All right, so the game maker is an excellent villain. I am so happy actually to see that James Roday did these episodes because it reminds me a lot of Ali Sheedy's character in Psych. Ali Sheedy played a I guess like a serial killer. It's very serial killer vibes. And called Mr. Yang, I think. Was the name. But anyway, there were these really elaborate puzzles that Sean had to solve in Psych. And so this very much makes sense that he was involved in directing this because it's very much the same style of those episodes. So very, very cool. India says if season 3 ever comes back, new team, writing team for Found overall. I 100% agree. Like I said, it didn't have enough teeth. Like these episodes, like the first episode ended and you didn't know if Maya was okay or not. So you're still left wondering, like, is she done? Like, is she alive? So that added some teeth to this. Now, again, nobody had to die in any of these episodes, but you needed something to give it like that grit. And so I'm really thankful that these episodes do that. It says, I feel like the game maker is very much like a younger, richer version of Hugh, smart but pretentious as hell. And I think there is someone working with Matthew because the way the arc ends, I agree, it's rushed. So I think it will be coming back in the middle or the end of season 2. He's gonna come back. He's gonna have to. He's finally like a worthy opponent for Morgan and her intellect. So it makes sense that he'll come back at some point. Yeah, I am really, really, really loving this show. The episodes were both really great. I enjoyed both of them. They're super engaging, easy to watch. Nothing about it took like forever. It was like a really easy watch. And I want to stick with it because I'm really curious. Now, I will say the driving the Roman mystery, I really want to know what happened to him. And now that we know that like he's hiding from someone in law enforcement, like I really, really, really want to know. But I think it's really great and I'm really excited about it. I know that Maya storyline scared me. I was like, is she going to be alive or will they be too late? Like episode 2 of season 1. Oh, I'm so glad that you love this show, India. I'm so glad. I really feel like it's such a strong show. And again, I'm so excited to continue down the path of this season. Now, I unfortunately am getting a migraine, and also with the double live streams and being by myself, I'm kind of feeling a little bit done today. So I think I'm gonna have to jump off, but I do want to give the details for this upcoming episode. So, episode 3 of season 2 will be entitled 11 Minutes. It has not been announced yet who the director is. And it is written by Laura Lekos. And I'm going to go ahead and look and see if Laura wrote any of the first season episodes. No, no, she did not. So this will be interesting. And the episode will air Tuesday, September 30th. It looks like all the way through episode 5, we're just going to go ahead and air every week. Tuesday is what's going to happen. I don't see any hiatus coming up, but they haven't listed all of the episodes yet. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I am excited. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a really fun show to talk about. Oh my goodness. Hi. Hi, Walking Dead Eternal. It's been so long. How are you? It is just something I wish Found would have done in their second season. Do you see what I mean? Like you can see where they went wrong now that you're watching something else that's also new, because it's different when you compare to like older stuff, but this is also new. It's airing in a similar time slot and it's doing it completely differently. And it's doing it arguably better because the ratings are better. And I have to say, you know the reason I ended up watching the show? My mom showed me the show. My mom likes the show. My mom loves High Potential. She told me she was like, "Oh, I've already watched this show, but it's really great." So she put it on again. She was willing to like sit through episodes again. That's how good it was to her that she was like, "Here, I really want you to see this." So we watched the first couple episodes together at her house, and I was hooked immediately because it's just like an easy watch. Oh, I'm glad you brought your account back too. It's good to see you. Um, yeah, so it's just like a really easy watch. So I'm really glad that she showed it to me. I have yet to tell her that I'm like covering this on my YouTube channel, so it'll be interesting to see what she says about that. But anyway, I'm excited. I'm glad the show got renewed for a second season. The ratings seem to be really strong. Um, and yeah, by the end of season 1, let's see. Let me see what the highest rated episode was for season 1. It looks like episode 9 was the highest rated, which is called The Rams. It's the one where you find out the thing about like that they were that Conforth tells Morgan that she knows Roman. Um, and it was and that was 5.79, which is crazy high. Okay. Which is crazy high. So I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens and if they're able to get the ratings up so high again. The last episode of the first season, Let's Play, was at 5.16. So yeah, anyway, it's really interesting. There's a lot of like really great writers that have been on this show, like Rob Thomas, who wrote for Veronica Mars, which is another one of my favorites. Andy Berman wrote for this. He also he's best known for his role as Div in Invader Zim, which is like another show that I love. So this is like kind of wild because this is just like a lot of things from the early 2000s that I really enjoy, and it's kind of like they're culminating in this show. So oh, I'm sad you missed Found. You should give High Potential a watch though. It's really great. It's really, really great. All right. So what we'll continue to do for now is eventually this show will take the time slot of the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard time slot on my channel on Fridays. For the meantime, until we get through Over the Garden Wall limited series lounge episode will air at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Evidence Board, this show, will air at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. I know. How am I going to do both? I don't know, but we're going to try to stick with it until we're done. Once Over the Garden Wall is complete, we will shift this show back down to the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard time slot, unless I feel the need to not. But honestly, it gets to be a little too late for me, and I just like really need to go to bed. And I still have like lots of things that I need to do today, and I might just go to bed early and do it in the morning. But anyway, so I hope to see you guys next week. Thank you so much, India, for being here. Walking Dead Eternal, thank you for being here. I'm so thankful for you guys for watching this. I'm glad you like the show, India. I can't wait to talk about it more. I can't wait for Takira to be here next week because I know that she's so excited to talk about the show. So this will be really fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you guys for being here, you sweet, precious angel babies. I love you so much.